Welcome to Dateline Health. This is Fred Lippman coming to you from Nova Southeastern University. And you know, we've had a lot of questions asking us all the time about cognitive diseases, Alzheimer's, getting old, I can't think anymore, etc., etc. Well, I said, well, whom and how are we going to talk to people about training your brain? And let's talk about the issues relative to that. So let me talk to you and introduce to you first one of the preeminent neurologists in the history of Broward County, Dr. Murray Todd, sitting right in front of me.
Thank you, Fred.
Good to see you. And we have Rachel Graham, who works at John Knox Village, correct? And you are an educator. You're a registered dietitian and also a nutritionist, licensed nutritionist. And you're an educator in Train Your Brain program.
Yes, sir.
So I'm going to ask you, what is Train Your Brain program?
So Train Your Brain is an amazing program that was started by Phyllis Strupp, an incredible woman who really focuses on how to keep your brain growing as you age. There is amazing facts that over the age of 40, your brain can grow astronomically. You can continue to, as long as you work it and you know how to work it, you can get better as you age. You know, we always hear about Alzheimer's and dementia and getting older and the negativity that that connotates, but the fact that you can continue to work your brain and have it grow and have it get better as you get older, not many people know that. So this program, it's a 2-hour seminar that we offer. The residents come in and they actually leave with a tangible plan that they create. And it's a plan that they create based upon finding out what lobes of their brain that they don't activate enough, and then leaving with a plan as to how they can activate it more, and committing to small, simple steps to continue to let their brain grow as they age and get better as they age.
That's great. That's so wonderful, and I really salute John Knox Village for initiating this program, but we're going to get to the details. Dr. Murray Todd, preeminent neurologist, has always told me, don't worry about the fact that you forgot something. Just remember that you can make it better and you can think and cure that problem.
Absolutely, no question about it. I think we dwell so much on forgetfulness and so forth. If we really think about it, everyone, as soon as you're cognitively able to remember anything, you've forgotten things. And as we get older, we do have more often things come around that we forget. But amazingly, if you don't dwell on it, we've all had that experience. I can't think of someone's name, for instance. Say, the harder you think for the name, the harder it is. It doesn't come to you. So I'll do something else. And you'll be sitting watching TV or playing cards or driving down the road and say, oh, Bob Benson, jeez, how did I not know that? So it is there. The data doesn't disappear. Once it's in your brain, it's there. The only way it disappears is if you have an injury or a destructive process in the brain where parts of it are damaged or removed. Otherwise, those electrical connections are made between those nerve cells are there, and we make even more of them as we get older. It's almost like an acceleration. The older you get, the more you make. It isn't the other way around. The more you get, the older you get, the duller you become. We really get into that kind of emotionally more than physiologically. Even the most oldest ones of us, when we started this for the first time, we were both, I think we both had gray hair, but not as much. At least we had some hair.
At least I had hair, but now you still have hair.
But hair doesn't count. Hair has no connections to neurons. But you have educated yourself and continue to educate yourself. This half hour we're together, we are both generating new synapses, new connections, new memories, new data, things that you'll remember about Rachel, about Murray, about a conversation that we may have. It's going to be planted in that brain of yours and mine and hers. And the folks here running the cameras, they're going to do the same thing. You can't stop it. It keeps on going. And that's the marvelous thing. We want to dwell on the positives, not some of the negatives. I'm getting more forgetful as I get older. It's more of a problem. There is, I guess, I see more forgetfulness as we mature, but the other data you have is so immense and so valuable. If you take a 17-year-old or an 18-year-old male, well-educated at that point, and they come to talk with you, they are so far behind. The one thing they haven't got is all those years that you've developed this phenomena. As being on this earth, you develop that relationships, you get new understandings, how people deal with things, how sidewalks are made, how the grass grows, and blah, 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 blah. All kinds of things that your brain is just sitting there like a sponge, waiting to be absorbed with the fluid, and the fluid is all new knowledge. It's huge, and it just continues and continues. But it never fails to amaze me. Of all the 50, 40 years that I was a neurologist, spending my time dealing with the brain, I was dealing with the brain of what's wrong with the brain, what goes wrong with the brain, not what the brain was all really about. Because the wrong that goes wrong isn't really a lot compared to what immense, important things it does. So it's a wonderful thing, and aging is a process that I'm much more positive than I was when I was younger about getting aged. I appreciate it. I sort of wallow in it because I really enjoy it. Because remember, all of those things that you have are there. You go up from there. You don't go down. I can't say to you, all right, listen, Fred, forget everything you knew the last 20 years. We're going to start over. No. Your brain will say, yeah, okay, sure. I'll tell them that, but I'm going to keep it all anyways. I won't let them know I'm doing that. I'm going to learn something new and keep on going and just pile it onto that. Does it ever get filled, somebody asked me. How could it ever be filled? It's never filled because you make new cells, new connections all of the time. Mm-hmm. And then you have that, you put that's new stuff, new data. It's new collections, it's kept. And it keeps right on going.
Well, I've known you for more than 4 decades. And you're no different now than you were then, only to tell you the truth, with all due respect, you're a lot smarter.
And with all due respect, I thank you, and you're absolutely correct, as is everyone else in this room.
Yeah. Rachel, tell me about the elements of incorporating the interests and the knowledge of Dr. Murray Todd and other professionals, and how you, other than just presenting a program, how does it all work at John Knox Village? Tell me.
So the specific Train Your Brain program is an interactive seminar, which is first and foremost so much better than just sitting there hearing somebody talk to you. You know, you can hear people talk, but in order to, you know, like Dr. Todd was saying, grow those synapses, you have to have motor output. You have to actually do something with the knowledge and information that you're given. So this 2-hour seminar is, you know, we get the residents to come in, and we're actually having some of the employees do it with alongside of them. And then we give them a little background. What is your brain? How many lobes are there? What do they do? How can you help your brain grow? Most people don't even realize that they can do that. They just think, okay, you know, like as Dr. Todd said, we're getting older, we're forgetting things. Well, yes, you might forget more things, but let's work on other parts of your brain. So we give a little background, we talk about the lobes of the brain, and then we have them go through and actually do a self-assessment. We ask them to be truthful, don't look at your neighbors, really think about it. You're gonna leave with this plan. So you have to be honest about what it is that you're doing and what you're not doing. And it's okay if you're not doing a lot. But the whole point is to do a self-assessment, to look inside and see what things am I activating this part of the brain on? What activities do I do to stimulate this part of the brain? And then they get this checklist, and when it's all said and done, they really get to see which lobe it is that they're not doing enough activities in, which lobe is not getting, you know, knowledge, which one is not getting activated on a daily basis. And then we ask them to pick one activity within that lobe and commit to working on that activity. Whether it's starting a new book with a book club. It's great to read, but having that motor output to talk about what you're reading. It's joining a craft club where they can socialize and get engaged and physically do with their hands. So we ask them to choose one activity and to commit to doing it, whether it's once a week, twice a week, 3 times a week. And we ask them to really be honest about how often they think they can do it, and then to assign somebody that's going to hold them accountable to doing it.
As a licensed dietitian and a nutritionist, the one thing that I've always, and I'll expose it, I very rarely tell the people who my doctors were, but Dr. Murray Todd has been, a family physician to a number of people in my family for years. That's not why he's here. It's just that we know how knowledgeable he is, and to tell you the truth, how much we love him. But the reality is that he's always said to me over the years, make sure you hydrate enough, make sure you get enough sleep for a certain reason, et cetera, not because your body is tired, but because your brain needs nutrition, and he means nutrition in certain other ways, but also the intake of certain foods and the time that you intake certain foods. Could you just touch on that a bit?
Sure. I mean, first and foremost, sleep is so important. People don't realize that your brain needs to rest. And when Dr. Todd was referring to all those new synapses being built and those connections, most of those happen when you're sleeping, because your brain is so active during the day and going and going and going. You need time for it to slow down and to rest. So asking people to get that full 8 hours of sleep, or at least put their bodies to rest for 8 hours, that's when those connections happen, and that's when those new cells grow. And talking about hydration, it is so important to keep your body hydrated. When you're dehydrated, more times than none, you're lacking in electrolytes or nutrients alongside of just the water factor. And when your body is not fully staffed with all those good things, your brain can't fully function. Neither can any really truly of your organs. So to have those healthy foods consistently throughout the day, we talk about eating a lot of foods that help with decreasing the amount of what's the word I'm looking for? Inflammation, that's the word I was looking for. So, all of those dark green leafy vegetables, those bright colored fruits and vegetables, those are the ones that are so important to have on a daily basis with every meal that you're consuming. Your body is so easy to get overstimulated and we call inflamed states. And when it is, it can't function properly. And when you're sleeping and your body is cleansing itself out, decreasing that stress comes along with decreasing that inflammation in your body, and that can happen through food and eating those healthy foods that we talk about, and not overindulging in the sugars and whatnot that increases that inflammation in your body.
Rachel made a statement about sleep without going into great details about it. 2 things that are very important when we sleep that I don't think people recognize. During the day, we have data being produced and being absorbed. We're giving out data and we're absorbing data, and that comes in as connections. So the connections are being made, and it's an electrical connection with the nerve cells and so forth, neurochemicals. And so that new information comes into the medial aspect of the brain in the temporal lobes. Doesn't make any difference. It sort of sits there. So all of the data the new data that comes in that's new to us is set there. It's got now to be categorized and taken from there and put someplace and kept as a memory, which is now retrievable. And that only occurs during sleep. So you can imagine when you get up in the morning and you start, first thing in the morning you're reading the paper, and it's starting right there, because stuff in the paper you haven't seen before, new memories, new data. Oh gosh, Mr. So-and-so dies, and next door neighbor, oh this is a blah, 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 blah. TV, watching the news, data. And then all day long, you're up all day, 8, 10 hours, whatever it is, goes to sleep. All of that data now has to be taken from the hippocampus and stored as permanent, retrievable data. We call them memories. But it's just electrical data. And it goes on every single day. So that's one thing. At night, the hippocampal area is emptied. It's cleaned out. So you start all over the next day when you wake up. As soon as you wake up, it starts all over again. First thing in the morning. People say, I don't do anything in the morning, I'm brushing my teeth. I say, no, you're not. You're brushing your teeth, and you're looking in the mirror, and you're thinking about what you have to do. And you remember that I gotta go see, I better call Dr. Lippman, tell him I can't be there that early, I have to be late. Oh my, I wonder if I got the gas in the car. You're not. So it starts very first thing in the morning. So that's memories retrieved and kept, so you can retrieve them. The second thing is, all of your cells in your body, whether it's your brain cells or not, they make garbage, stuff that they don't need anymore, and they have to get rid of it. So they dump it out, it gets into the circulation, it goes around the circulation, goes into the blood, the bloods go through the kidneys are like a big plumbing system. They drain all of that down, and we go to the bathroom and we urinate it out, all of those excess. So the brain doesn't have the kidneys, but it has another draining system. And the draining system, I don't go into any great detail, is basically spinal fluid, which surrounds the brain and into the substance of the brain. And the cleaning mechanism can't happen during the day. There's too much else going on. So the brain is doing too much other stuff. But at night, it's only doing a little bit of less data, but now it can clean house. So during sleep is when the cleaning occurs. And it gets into the spinal fluid, and the spinal fluid gets it into the fluids, into the body, into the veins, and then it goes down and gets into the kidneys, it gets drained out, it also goes out, same mechanism. So the kidneys, the brain has kind of like its own draining system, but it only occurs at night. So drainage, cleaning at night, and permanent data collection and placement and kept electronically in your brain, known as memory.
Let me ask you a question. This is a bit off of the train your brain subject, but you know, you always have spoken about sleep, and like I said, I brought it up: sleep, hydration, proper nutrition. Now, of course, we are living in an era of extreme obesity. I'm sure that there eventually, I don't want to get into the technical scientific side of it, but there's a lot of talk about the plaque that occurs in the brain. Everybody talks about Alzheimer's. In reality, you know, when you talk about cognitive diseases, you're really talking, and you taught me this a long time ago, you're really talking about the same thing. It's plaque, it's there. Is there any future, immediate future, Dr. Todd, to the fact that I know there's so much research going on? I know there are pharmaceutical products that I guess interdict the formation or retard the formation, but is anything new in the world of Alzheimer's or cognitive diseases?
There are no drugs available at the present that are what you're talking about, but are definitely in the pipeline. They will be directed at interfering with the production of amyloid, which is the abnormal plaque, that's the name of the substance, the abnormal plaque that occurs in the patients that have Alzheimer's disease. The problem is, that's all well, and Alzheimer's is the most common of all the dementias. So it does make a difference. It's the biggest number. So let's go after the biggest number, and that's what we've done. That's what the scientists have done. The medications will be directed at either preventing the plaque from being formed, not allowing it to stay formed, or opening up a process by which the immune system can get rid of it on an immune basis. So those are the way it's going to work. That's all well and good. That may make, we don't know that we don't know for a fact that preventing the amyloid plaque and deposit actually causes the disorder. We only know that the disorder has the plaque. So you have to be kind of careful. We may end up with a lot of people that are demented with no plaque.
Well, the reason I brought it up is because that brings me to the Train Your Brain program. Because no matter what happens is that if you train your brain and you put in new opportunities for your brain to work as it normally should work, and if you sleep well and you hydrate and you eat properly, and I'm not going to tell the people what proper is.
And exercise.
And exercise. I'm getting there. I'm getting there. And exercise. You end up with all the elements that you want to use in your Train Your Brain program, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's talk a little bit more about what they have to do in Train Your Brain.
You have to commit to action steps. I think that's the biggest part. Only you can stimulate your brain and activate your brain. We can't touch those people that don't want to eat healthy, that don't want to hydrate, that don't care about sleep, and that just want to be. Unfortunately, we can't grasp them and pull them into our world. You have to want to change, and you have to want to continue to get better and realize that there are opportunities as you get older to continue to learn and grow and to make a part of your body actually better. You can control that, but you have to take the initiative and the step to want to do that. And like Dr. Todd said, it's not just the motor output and doing activities and socializing and engaging, but it's this whole well-rounded being of wellness. You have to eat right, you have to exercise, and you have to engage, and you have to want to do that. And I think that's the wonderful part is we offer these seminars and people sign up on their free will. We're not demanding people to be there. We're not telling them they have to come. We're giving them the why. Why is this so important? And I think just knowing that and knowing that there is something that they can do to better themselves with this organ that you never think about. You know, you think about your kidneys and you think about your liver and you think about your heart. But this massive organ up in your head, it's something that people don't tend to think about and think that I can really make that better.
I think there's going to be a difference. What do you think, Dr. Todd?
I agree 100%. And just to kind of capitalize a little on what we've talked about, the dementias, Alzheimer's, actually is decreasing. Now you could say, he can't say that. That can't possibly be true. I can show you the numbers are actually much worse than they used to be. But we're not talking about numbers. We're talking about the rate of the disorder is actually decreasing. And there's no magic. I haven't found any cure. I didn't do anything spectacular. The reason it looks like there's more is because the population is getting larger. So there's more people around, and the population is aging. We had very little to do with that other than all of the things we've talked about in improving health, good health, and so forth, allows us to live longer, so there's more of us, so that the numbers up, the actual number of Alzheimer's patients is actually increasing, but the rate is actually decreasing, which means we've got a handle on this a little bit. And if we think about it, is that important? It's extraordinarily important. The number one risk factor of developing Alzheimer's dementia is age. And I just got through saying more of us are getting aged. So the risk is actually going up, but the actual disease states are going down. We are doing something right. We're paying attention to our diets. We're paying attention to exercise. We're paying attention to what diseases. I mean, just think about who you've had as guests. When I first came on here as a much younger person, and you were a much younger person, and your friends were much younger persons. But a lot of them are still around, mine too, that would have been dead before. My parents died younger, and their parents died even younger, and so forth. So people are living longer. Well, that isn't just magic. That's because things are better. Well, yeah, of course it is. We got better clothes, we got better food, we have better drugs, better doctors, of course. None of that has anything to do with it. It's this other process that we have of the human being. We're talking about today with one little part, which turns out to be, as far as I'm concerned, the biggest part, and that's brain. How can we keep our brain active and make it work? Asking it to do something.
That's something that I'm going to interrupt you on, because we're down to the last 2 minutes of the show, and I don't mean to interrupt you, but that leads right into why we have Train Your Brain program. Correct? So one more time, tell the folks the Train Your Brain program is at John Knox Village right here in Florida. Where's John Knox Village, by the way?
Pompano Beach.
Pompano Beach. And we have a very significant relationship with John Knox Village, and we're very, very proud. Nova Southeastern University is very, very proud of our relationship with you all. But you, Rachel Graham, are the educator that is involved with Train Your Brain. So all those folks that Dr. Todd talked about and enables John Knox to become 3 times the size that it is, because there'll be more people who will be living there, they're going to need you even more so. So what do you have to say about that?
Well, and I'm just a little part of it. There is, at John Knox Village, this culture change of wellness. And this Train Your Brain program is just one small aspect of it, but it is an amazing opportunity. I'm only one of 10 educators. There's a bunch of us, but it's a chance for you to do something good for yourself. And it's an opportunity to learn about an organ that you never think about, you never try and activate, and make a change for the better. After age 40, there's not many things you can change about your body in a good way. This is an opportunity to learn and to commit to an action step to help prevent. As Dr. Todd said, prevention is the key to success.
Well, I want to thank you both for being here today.
Thank you.
I want to congratulate John Knox Village on creating Train Your Brain program, and you as one of the 5 educators. I think
there's about 10 of us.
There are now 10 of you. See, I quickly forgot. How about that? Dr. Murray, Todd, what can I tell you? You know, you helped me get along, and hopefully I've helped you get along. Most people don't know, I'm going to tell you right now, because I tell you all the time, I always talk about certified stroke centers. That's the guy right there. Dr. Murray Todd was the #1 advocate. He pushed legislators and congresspeople all over the United States, and you can thank him for a lot of the elements of creating a certified stroke centers. But that's a little inside information. I want to thank you both very much. Thank you, Rachel Graham, for being here and representing your Train Your Brain program. Dr. Murray Todd, thank you once again. You are a member of our faculty here at Nova Southeastern University, and you will continue for the next 50 years, so don't worry about it. And I wish you both well. And folks, I hope we gave you some information of value to train your brain. And remember, as I always say to you, this is your show. So if you have any questions, you have any comments, there's an email address and a phone number right there. And remember, take care of yourself and see your doctors, and don't withhold information. You have to give the doctor every piece of information that you have, what you eat, what you're taking, going into various nutritional products and nutraceuticals and over-the-counter preparations and whatever. Don't hide anything from your physician. So this program is called Dateline Health. We come to you from Nova Southeastern University. My name is Fred Lippman. Until next time, see you.